too many times I watch it where entrepreneurs, they're operating, but they're typically operating out of their zone of genius or above their zone of genius out of necessity. Because when you're bootstrapping and you're doing things, you have to do it. There's no other options. That's the beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur, is that you figure it out. Anything is figure outable. And so as they figure it out and as they go through different things, the road ends up going more like this, with has like very deep peaks, very deep valleys. And it's all associated with your growth plans. But what if you were in a place where you had access to capital to go make that possible for you?
Welcome to the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast, the ultimate destination for accredited investors and entrepreneurs seeking alternative wealth building strategies. Discover how to fast-track your journey to wealth and time freedom by thinking outside the box. If you're ready to join the ranks of the Contrarian Capitalists and learn the most effective ways to reach your financial goals faster, you're in the right place. Let's get started with today's episode of the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast.
Thank you for joining another episode of the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast. It is me, your favorite silverback, Sylvania Harrod. And on today's episode, I want to talk to you about somebody that's gotten a lot of press for what she was able to do and is in part of one of my favorite movies, Sweet Home Alabama, the actress Reese Witherspoon. So if you've tuned into any of the other episodes, my whole focus in life is to teach you to see the things that have always been there, but you may not notice how it goes. And the beautiful thing that you'll realize is that once the mind of man is expanded, it can never go back to its original form. And so what happens is a lot of time in business, we hear about all these success stories, and we may hear about the overcoming different obstacles and getting to a point where their business is growing and succeeding. But what we don't really learn is some of the behind the scenes actions that happens to be there. And I want to bring that information to the world. So today's episode, we're going to talk about Reese Witherspoon. So Reese Witherspoon has been given a lot of kudos for what she's been able to build with Hello Sunshine. Amazing platform, highlighting and raising up these women authors to help create shows, books, etc. on her platform. But the thing that you got to ask yourself is this something just from like pure determination, or are there other factors that happen to be there? So the world of private equity is all around us all the time. We just don't realize how to look for it. And so in this situation, we're going to look at that place because we hear about Hello Sunshine, and media is determined in a way to highlight certain individuals, because the reality is that that's what's going to sell. If they tell you a random name like Seth Brodsky happens to build Hello Sunshine platform, it's just going to be something you probably won't click. But if they say something like Reese Witherspoon has built a company that's valued at $800 million, you're going to be like, holy crap, how is that possible? I don't think I can do that because I'm not Reese Witherspoon. But the reality is you may actually be Seth Brodsky. So Seth Brodsky was the co-founder of Hello Sunshine. And so they had backers from a fund. It was Otter Media and it was Emerson Collective. So Otter Media is AT&T. Emerson Collective is founded by Lauren Powell Jobs, aka Steve Jobs' wife. So in that scenario, when they're going ahead and they're building their platform, this magical thing I've realized in the world of working in securities and in alternative markets is that most of the time, there's a difference between those who have a backer and those who don't. And so the reason of what happens is psychologically, you have a place of safety. You have a place of being like, you know what? I can ensure that as I go ahead and I build this platform and I build these things, imagine you have an army of people whose whole job is to build and grow a war chest of money to ensure that you're able to accomplish your mission. That is what happened when it came to Hello Sunshine. So when you go ahead and you Google Hello Sunshine and you Google the name like Emerson Collective, sometimes it actually doesn't even pop up. You have to know what to be able to look for. And so as you look through that, you can see that when the company started, they had a certain amount amount of cash that they were able to utilize. That cash enables you to go through a process of hiring the right people, attracting an individual like Seth Brodsky who understands how to operate the business, who understands how to make sure to hire the right talent, build the right credentials. Because too many times I watch it where entrepreneurs are they're operating, but they're typically operating out of their zone of genius or above their zone of genius out of necessity. Because when you're bootstrapping and you're doing things, you have to do it. There's no other options. That's the beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur is that you figure it out. Like anything is figure outable. And so as they figure it out and as they go through different things, the road ends up going more to like this, with has like very deep peaks, very deep valleys. And it's all associated with your growth plans. But what if you were in a place where you had access to capital to go make that possible for you? And so in this scenario, she was able to hire the right person, partner with the right person to help make sure to build a platform, because she'll even admit she's not a technologist. She's not going to do those things or any of those structures, and then hire the right attorneys to make sure, hire the right accountants to make sure that you're in a place where you're not paying Sam more than you need to. And as they went through that entire process, they then had major backers. So think about this. If one of your backers happens to be a media platform, which is what Otter Media does, guess what you have direct access to. If you find the right criteria, you're able to put people in a place where they're going to have distribution. Because in the media business, that's all it is. It's distribution rights. Who has those? How is it structured? So they were part of the initial backer. So you already have access to how to structure your business and how to grow from there. So now we move to a place of the reason why large institutional investors put money into a company is because they have a design process. So in my world, we don't acquire companies, we acquire systems. So if you have a defined system, and let's say you go ahead and you have distribution rights, you've been able to generate revenue, you've been able to show that if I take this person and I onboard them through step A through Z, it's going to output X amount of dollars, which is why Blackstone came in and they injected a ton of capital into the platform, valuing it at $900 million. It's because of a system and a process. You have a system, you define it in, you be able to be there, and then you grow from there. And that is how they were able to transform it. They were able to expand its content portfolio because you have a even bigger war chest of money to go do. Because all you're doing is you're accelerating the process that you've already defined. So the question you got to ask yourself is two things. As an accredited investor, how can I be able to go do this today? How can I take part of this? There's two sides to the coin. One side of the coin, you have the ability to invest in funds and syndications. These alternative markets are there and they're readily available everywhere. If you're the type of person who's like, you know what, I want to, like, in the areas I want to operate, you got to know yourself very well. So if you look at it in the situation of Reese Witherspoon, she had an individual by the name of Seth Brodsky. He's the operator. He's going to be there. She, on the other side, knows what her zone of genius is, going through the different phases, different process. So on the one side of the coin, you want to invest in funds and syndications, because now you're at a place where you can put your money into operators who are out there on the ground and know those things, because that's really what we do as an investor. We're looking at things, and I use a chessboard analogy, right? There's chess pieces, there's chess players. Chess pieces are the operators. You're going to evaluate. Sometimes you get pawns, other times you get rooks. And as you're going through that process, you want to be able to evaluate where you're going to play them, what place you want to be, who do you want to put money behind, is based upon the competency of the operator. Because it's not a matter of if things go right, it's about when things go wrong at different times. How are they going to show up? How are they going to pivot? How are they going to do things? Because I don't know about you, but it's not always sunny and 75 outside. So in life, I can trust that. There's going to be ebbs and flows, but the depths of the ebbs are going to be determined based upon the operator. So on one side of the coin, you can invest in funds and syndications. The other thing is, if you are at the place where you've been like, you know what, I've done all the right things. I've gone ahead and I've built this business. I have the right systems. I have the right process. I've defined it in my local area. I'm ready to take this thing national, global, etc. That's when you have the ability to work with a firm like mine that can help you build out your fund. You can be in the place where, in the chess analogy, you move to a place from a chess piece to the person who owns the building that the damn chess tournament's being ran into. And so in that phase, what you have the opportunity to do is you can go through the process of building out your fund, being able to go through the thing and know that you no longer have to white knuckle it. You don't have to be in that process anymore. You can be in a phase where you're like, damn, I'm good at this. I believe in myself. I know I'm capable. I know I'm worthy of this. I just need to get access, baby. There's information all over the world. You wouldn't be listening to this podcast otherwise. But I want access. I want without doing all the weird kind of crazy Hollywood stuff that they like to do. You do that, you have the ability to go build and attract in the right investors. Because really what I'm looking at as an investor is, who is the competent operator and what does their systems look like? If their systems are dialed in to be able to be there, and all they need is just pour a little fuel on the fire and accelerate to the fire that's already burning, I'm there for you. So just know that you can repeat the same process that Reese Witherspoon did. You don't need to be Reese Witherspoon. You can be more like Seth Brodsky, where nobody knows who you are, but you can get a large injection of capital to ensure you're able to make your dreams your reality. So to land the plane, as always, you can find me on all social media platforms at Sylvania Harrod. If you go on Facebook and you see my dad, he has a chess piece that happens to be there. You can add him if you want to, but you're not going to get the level of conversation you're going to have with me. So as always, stay grateful, my friends. It's a privilege and honor to talk to you, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, rate, and leave us a review on your preferred podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more people ready to explore contrarian investment strategies. Stay connected with us on social media for more expert insights, behind-the-scenes content, and updates on upcoming episodes. You can find all the links in the show notes. Until next time, stay bold, think differently, and keep pursuing the legacy you deserve. Thanks for listening to the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast.